Laura, you are a woman entrepreneur. You are Twitter fabulous. And but first, I want to know is what does pistachio come from? We'll just start with the simple.
Oh my God! So long ago, I lived in this crazy farmhouse in Pennsylvania. I thought the attic would make a great home office. I grabbed a random can of paint in the basement and did the walls, which were the ceiling, and so it was this overwhelming thing, and it was hideous. Friendly's ice cream pistachio.
Nice.
Color.
Beautiful.
So like 3 months later, oh, you need a company name. For now, I'll just call it Pistachio Studios. And then it was Pistachio Consulting. And then it was actually a company like 10 years later. And then I did like How to Not Suck at PowerPoint. And then Twitter happened.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
That's funny. I guess I can somewhat relate because when I joined Twitter back in the day, I was like, Twitter, Rep Corps sounds good. And now that's the name that only people use for me. So there you have it.
Yes, Rep Corps.
Oh,
I know. Dan Zorro.
Yes.
Yeah, he cheated.
I was very creative.
I know,
with my,
you're
with
smart
my
with yours.
First name, last name is the way to go.
Yeah.
If I had to go back now, I would do it that way.
We've done some studies that show if you use underscores or numbers in your Twitter name, you actually end up with less followers.
I used to complain about people because I kept so many Twitter names in my head and I couldn't reply to those people from SMSing on my phone. I was rocking Twitter for 9 months with a razor. Little known fact.
Wow.
40404.
That's hardcore.
Thug
I
life.
love it.
That's awesome. So I also heard you may have written a book. We may have it right here.
But you're not a dummy. But the Twitter looks so dumb.
I was
so,
gonna ask,
the dummy part is the Twitter part, and you're smart.
I was actually going to ask how stupid do you have to be to read the book because it's for dummies. Like, what's the intelligence threshold?
I have no comment on that.
I know, he like prepped me with that.
100th
episode! Cheers. Are we really going to do that every time?
Yeah, why not?
Good
Absolutely.
It'll be a great show by the end.
So what can people learn from reading this book? Obviously Twitter, but are there some neat little tricks and tips?
Yeah. You know, Twitter does look really stupid when you first see it. A lot of us forget that. And I start almost every keynote I give with, Twitter's the stupidest app you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And then I tell them why it's not you being stupid. It's like really hard to get the value. And then when you get into it, you can see a lot of value. So we wanted to make the getting into it part easier because I'm actually I'm motivated by strange things. And I have this very idealistic vision. I remember seeing someone standing on the subway platform here in Boston, the T obviously, with their phone years ago and thinking, she looks really depressed and all alone right now, and like she has a phone, she doesn't have to be alone. She could be connected to her family, she could be connected to strangers, she could be doing some fun stuff as she goes about her life. So I'm kind of on a mission to see if everybody else can't get a little bit of the kind of benefits I've seen from Twitter. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what drives everything else that has followed.
Very, very cool. And then, of course, you love Twitter so much, and you believe in the value of it, you created then another company.
Right. So I had Pistachio Consulting, and I really did focus on making PowerPoint suck less, because face it, that's not hard. And over the course of a year and a half of tweeting and just being goofy on Twitter, I started getting drawn in to explain other people why Twitter was valuable. So starting in August 2007, I went after Guy Kawasaki, said, you're totally wrong, Twitter's not a waste of time, it can be an effective business and marketing tool in these ways, got him convinced, he credited me when he started.
Awesome.
So after a year and a half of doing all this conference speaking, advising, I realized I was doing Twitter for Business consulting. So I relaunched Pistachio Consulting to do that. I got the book offer, and then 2 headaches that were coming from the book and from advising business clients, what are the best tools to use in an ecosystem that was exploding. I mean, in the time we've had 140, which is the company I founded, I think I knew of 1 app for sale when I started pitching the idea, and there were maybe 200 or 300 apps. We now have enough data to list 3,000 apps on our site. Wow. There's several hundred for sale. Some of these are enterprise solutions for $1,500 a month. You know, you have Twitter hitting a massive mainstream inflection right now, especially with the World Cup. And I couldn't keep track of all the tools. There's up to 140,000 software projects being worked on. That's the number of API tokens that Twitter has announced have been issued.
Just using Twitter, software applications using Twitter.
Just permission to build on the Twitter API.
That's incredible.
And I couldn't keep track, so I solved my own problem. We built an app store. It's a directory. It's a little bit like Yelp. It's a little bit like the App Store. It helps people find and share tools. I'm doing a toolkit, what we call in 140, which is really kind of a how to Twitter guide if you break it down. But I'm doing a toolkit for HubSpot TV episode 100. If you go to 140.com/pistachio, you can see the apps we're going to talk about today. Mm-hmm. And if we come up with new apps on the fly, I'll just throw them in there, and anybody watching at home or you here in the audience can keep track of what we talked about.
So when I put on my business guy hat, one question, how do you make money? How do you monetize that?
We're VC funded.
Okay.
No, it's an app store. right?
Okay.
So it's this crazy Web 2.0 model. We sell stuff. Can I
Yeah.
say?
But
I'll
so
say
for people essentially, right?
We
Like
sell
that.
stuff and we keep part of the money.
Okay.
We use TV swears.
TV search stuff. No, we're a Twitter marketplace.
Very, very cool.